Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I have decided that for this video we are actually going to do a buttonhole. The reason I decided to do a buttonhole is because so many people worry about buttonholes. They don't know how to do them, they don't know how to set them up, they're not sure then how to open them, or they're not sure. The main thing about buttonholes is people don't know how to set them up, and when they don't know how to set them up and then when they have a go and it doesn't work, they freak out, they panic, they worry, and it all just goes down the toilet basically. So in this video I am basically going to show you how to thread up your machine, how to set up for your buttonholes, how to then open your buttonholes, and how to check that everything is working. The machine I'm going to be working on today is actually my Janome Horizon. As you guys know from previous videos, I am in love with my Janome Horizon. As soon as I used it on the sewing bee, I was hooked and knew I had to get it straight away. So that is the machine that I'm going to be using today. Let's cut this intro and let's basically get straight to it. As you can see, we are now set up, ready to go. I have everything here that I need to have. I have my sewing machine, I have my Janome Horizon here in front of me. And yeah, we're basically just gonna get on with it. So, as you can see, my Janome Horizon is here in front of me. We have our buttonhole foot here, which looks like this. So this is our buttonhole foot, which is what we're going to need to use, and obviously one of our buttons. So I have just gone for a nice plain grey pearly type button. Okay, so the first thing we do is we get our buttonhole foot, and basically this part slides down and up, so it adjusts to the size of your button. Sorry, what I'm trying to say. So this part adjusts to the size of your button. So I'm going to open it up to where to open it up enough so that I can get my button in. And what I do is I place my button. Oh, if it doesn't want to slide out. So I place my button in this part here, like that. And then all I do is hold that with my thumb and push it down. And I push it down so it's nice and tight and it is fully enclosed into my buttonhole. You can see it is now fully enclosed and nice and tight, ready for us to do our button. As you can see here, my sewing machine has no foot on it whatsoever. So I'm now going to clip my buttonhole foot onto my sewing machine here. Okay, so I have repositioned the camera just so it's easier for you guys to see. So as you can see, we have our buttonhole foot here in our hand, and it needs to clip onto this part of our sewing machine here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it underneath, lifting my pedal up a little bit more so that I can slide it underneath easier. Clip it down and it's ready to go. There is one more step before we are set to then start doing our buttonholes. So here I have my needle threader, but the one behind it, which is this one here, needs to come down behind this part of the buttonhole, because basically what that does is it tells the machine basically when to go forwards and when to go backwards and when to stop basically. So as you can see, I had a little practice earlier just to make sure it was all good, but then what I would do now is I would open up this part. You can see all my different stitches basically up here. So we need either one of these three buttonholes. I'm just going to do a normal squared one. So on my Janome Horizon, it's computerized, so I'm going to use this panel here, and I'm basically going to type in 23. Now, I had to play with it earlier, and I know that I need to make the zigzag, instead of 5, I need to make it 4.8, and the straight stitch, instead of it being 0.4, I need to make it 0.3, just to come out with a nice, clean, tight buttonhole. And then what I do is I close this. So now what I'm going to do is place my fabric underneath here, and always remember that it doesn't go, the stitch doesn't go towards you, it goes away from you. So say if obviously when you're doing your buttonhole, you mark the bottom of your buttonhole, make sure that's where you start. Don't start at the top of your buttonhole because it's going to go backwards. So you always need to start at the end, basically at like the bottom of your buttonhole. So if you're going to do a shirt, start from the hem and work your way up, because the stitches go backwards rather than forwards, which you will see in a minute. So I've got my foot down, and obviously you can go as slow as you like or as fast as you like, entirely up to you. You literally don't have to do anything apart from put your foot on the pedal. That is it. So what I'm going to do now is find my pedal and literally just start off. You can hold it and guide it if you like, but otherwise you can literally just let go and the machine will do the whole thing for you. So it's literally just doing that buttonhole. So this bar here, as you can see that we put down earlier, is hitting either this one here or the one behind it, and it's telling the buttonhole to then go forwards or backwards. This is why I do prefer making buttonholes on my Horizon rather than on a domestic, because with a domestic that beeping noise means that it's done. So if you put your foot down again, it's just going to start doing another buttonhole. So obviously cut your threads, take it out. Always do a few just to make sure it looks good. That buttonhole looks pretty good to me, so I'm gonna put that aside because I now know that my buttonhole looks pretty good. But yeah, going back to why I I prefer doing my buttonholes on my Horizon, just because the machine does basically everything for you. All you have to do is put your foot down, cut the threads at the end, and that's it, you're done. Whereas with a domestic, you have to measure it out, you have to change it from doing the long stitches to the little stitches at the end, then back to the long stitches and the little stitches at the end. I just find the Horizon so much easier because it's the whole thing for you. So I'm now going to grab my dad's shirt, which is here, all crumpled up. So what I mean by starting at the hem, I have my pin here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in, which way was I sewing? I can't even remember. I'm going to put it in this way, and I'm going to match my pin up with this red mark that is on my buttonhole, because I know that that is the middle of my buttonhole, and I know that that needs to be the top of my buttonhole, and I'm going to line it up. I just lost my pin. But it's alright, I can see the pin marks in my shirt. And I'm going to line it up with the number 2 that's here, just so I know that all my buttonholes are going to be straight. So I'm going to lift it up a little bit more just so I can get it in easier. Match it up with that red dot and the 2 on the sewing machine, put my pedal down, take my pin out. Then what I'm going to do is all I did earlier, put my foot down and off it goes. I'm just going to hold it just so I know that I'm going to get a nice straight buttonhole. I'm not pulling it, I'm not doing anything. I'm literally just holding it to make sure it is going to stay in a straight line, like so. And then, like I said earlier, it will come to a beeping noise, and that means it is done. So I'm now going to press the scissor button on my machine and take my button out. Take it out. If I show you, there is now our nice clean buttonhole. Then what I do is grab my snips. I'm going to now move my machine so that you guys can sort of see what I'm doing. I'm now going to take my snips and I'm going to just cut off any loose threads. I hate working with garments that have loose threads because they're just going to either get in the way or they're going to get tangled up in whatever you're making. Okay, so now that we have done our buttonhole, I'm now going to show you how I personally would open up a buttonhole. So you're going to need a pin and an unpicker, as you can see that I have here. So I've got my trusty unpicker and my pin. And what we're going to do is take the lid off our unpicker. All I'm going to do is put the pin across this top bit here, this bar, covering that bar because we don't want to rip those stitches. So you basically put it in like that, okay? Then what we're going to do is grab our unpicker and we put it in down this end. So I'm just going to slot it through all the layers out to under the lining. And all we're going to do is nice and gently push up towards that pin. Now that pin is stopping me from going any further because I don't want to end up ripping through the shirt. So that pin is actually stopping me going further, which is why I always say put a pin in. Take the pin out, put your lid back on your overlocker, because not your overlocker, on your unpicker, because some of them could be quite sharp. And that is now our buttonhole open. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's been like a really short one, but actually buttonholes, when you get used to them, they're so quick, they're so easy to do. You just sort of need to figure out which like style you want, whether you want the squared, whether you want the rounded, whether you want, you know, the keyhole one. It's entirely up to you. You just need to figure out which one you feel looks best for whatever garment you're making. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I wanted to do one on a buttonhole just so that you guys could see how you set it up, how you get it going, and how, if you needed to, if you could change the stitch length or whatever you like. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!